So public comment, just a reminder, as we accept the public comments, there'll be a 3-minute time limit for each person wishing to comment. If you exceed that 3-minute time limit, we may mute your line. Then just a note, interruptions during the meeting could result in you being removed from the virtual meeting as well. That being said, is there anyone online that would like to make a public comment? If so, unmute yourself and state your name and your address.
This doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be given some time later on. If you do your public comment now, and then when we get to the agenda item, I will call upon the impacted community, meaning whichever items that we're talking about, you'll be given some time to enlighten us on your position after the comments that's being made by the commissioners. Thank you.
There's only
Going once.
People online, so I'm not seeing anybody that's unmuting themselves.
Going twice. Third and the final call, and public comment is out the window. Okay, Mac, take us down to the consent agenda.
Okay, do you want me to read the agenda first? Make a motion?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Do that. So under the consent agenda, you've got the check register. You've got the September 1st, 2020 meeting minutes. Planning Commission appointments for Cody Nelson from Blanding and John Johnson for LaSalle. You've got consideration of an aging contract for online services. And consideration of legal services, which is another aging contract. Under recognitions, presentations, and informational items, you've got the beer tax fund fiscal year 2020 report. That'll be actually given by our sheriff. We've got a discussion and consideration of the second round of CARES Act funds. Got consideration of a Utah Commission with Aging letter of support. Under business action, you've got consideration of Decker Crossing agreement with Two Stripe Cattle Company. This will be presented by TJ Adair, Road Department. We've got consideration of outreach education agreement between San Juan Public Health Department and University of Utah for poison control. And then number 11, consideration of coronavirus prevention messaging grant contract for fiscal year 2021 with San Juan Public Health and the State of Utah Department of Heritage and Arts. That'll be presented by Kirk, our Public Health Director. Got a purchase order authorizing the chamber remodel by HK Consulting. And then item 13, consideration of a contract for ordinance recodification cost proposal and contract with American Legal Publishing Corporation. Item 14, consideration of a lease agreement with the town of Bull. Then you've got 15, consideration of agreement with AJC Architects, form a feasibility study for a public safety building. And then 16, consideration of a memorandum of understanding between San Juan County and Public Lands Managers for San Juan Strong Recreate Responsibility Campaign. That'll be presented by Natalie. And then you have your Board of Equalization, the recommended Board of Equalization adjustments that'll be presented by Greg Adams, our County Assessor. Other than that, Commissioners, that for today is your agenda.
Well, thank you very much. A motion would be in order.
A motion?
Motion by Commissioner Gray Eyes to accept the agenda as read into the record. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Adams. Thank you very much. Okay. Any addition, deletion? Do we have any pressing item that needs to be acted on, Mac?
No.
That needs to be added on to the agenda. If not, then we'll go with the as It's been read into the record. So all those in favor in accepting the agenda?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, continuing on, Mac.
Okay, for the consent agenda, you've got the book registers and then your meeting minutes. You've got, let's see, just going through in order to make sure. So the Planning Commission appointments on here that we had mentioned, we've been advertising. Initially, we had advertised back in May to fill the vacancies for the Planning Commission. We received 2 applications. We reappointed the at-large position, but we needed and continued to have a vacancy in Blanding and a vacancy in LaSalle. We didn't receive any applicants for those areas, so we went out searching, asking just people within the community, the managers, anybody that can assist, other Planning Commission members, just kind of went out looking for people that were willing to volunteer and be part of Planning Commission. We received a response from Cody Nelson in Blanding. I have provided you his letter of interest in there, making sure that he met the qualifications and requirements for a planning commissioner. He's an engineer, does a lot of community service. And so we like the fact that he's been involved with land use in that capacity. Then we got John Johnson to represent LaSalle. Didn't have a letter of interest from him. He was a former planning commission member from LaSalle and had moved away. And so his seat had expired once he moved. Now that he's back in town with the vacancy of the current LaSalle position, that one felt like a pretty easy fit where he has planning commission experience. And so we're recommending those appointments from those 2 areas. And then you've got the consideration of the aging contract. This contract is for RN services to the aging waiver clients. What this does is we pay the contractor to go out and do assessments or reassessments for our clients. They go as far as Navajo Mountain, and the rates are adjustable depending on whether they're going to regular county locations or if they're traveling to Navajo Mountain. Then that assessment and reassessment is a little bit more of a higher rate to cover the cost of mileage and the distance of travel there. But this is an annual renewal with this vendor. Vendor is Rocky Mountain Home Care. The other one, the other contract on here, it's another renewal of a contract that we typically have is a Utah Legal Service contract. They're another vendor of ours. They provide legal education and direct legal assistance to our senior citizens throughout San Juan County. So as long as you're the age of on here 60 years or older, no matter what income or regardless of assets, you can take part in this service. And so we want to continue that service again. So these are amendments to something that already exists, is why you're seeing them today on your consent agenda. The commissioners for that consent agenda.
Thank you very much, Mac and commissioners. We have a check register that we need to acknowledge, as well as notifying the meeting minutes that's in here, and other appointments that we need to forward to recognize, and all the way down to item number 5, right, Matt?
All the way down to item 5.
Yeah, because the item 6 is a separate issue. So those are the items. Are there any questions or comment to the to these area? If there be none, you want us to take a motion on this, Matt? But the minutes we do.
Yeah, motion for all of them.
Yeah.
And reserve time for question. Second.
Commissioner Gray Eyes makes a motion and he opens it for a question if there's any. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Adams makes a second. So is there any questions or comment to these areas?
Question on the independent contractor agreement. I would like to pose, Mr. McDonald indicated that it covers Navajo Mountain. Both the two contracts for
our seniors.
Senior citizen and also for the legal. How many times has the request been received regarding the types of assistance that are available for Navajo Mountain?
So for the RN contract, the aging waiver contract, they are out there almost monthly. We have 10 to 15 clients out there, and they have to do a yearly assessment on those clients. So those clients are seen at least once a year by the RN. If they go into the hospital and come out of the hospital, then the RN has to go back out and do another assessment on that client. As far as the legal services, the contract is really limited. I think we're at $1,400, but anybody from the state of Utah or the county can call up to Utah Legal Services and get legal advice from Utah Legal Services. So it's open to anybody countywide. They don't give me a breakdown of where those services are sent. They just send me a bill.
Good.
Thank you.
That answer your question?
Oh, yes.
Viva. Okay. Any other comments? Any last comment, Cody Nelson or John Johnston? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item, beer tax fund.
Okay, the beer tax fund, this will be presented by our sheriff. He's online right now.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Mac?
Got it.
Okay.
We can hear you well.
Okay, commissioners, and Mac, thanks for your time. This is just a report on the beer tax funds that we received. It's for the period of July 1st, 2019 through June 30th of 2020. And then I have to get a form signed that Mac has. I don't know if we can get a stamp on it. And I need to send that into the state of Utah. But this report basically says we applied for beer tax funds, and we applied to use it in San Juan County for confinement costs. And we were awarded $33,124. And so that money should have came in, and then that will be applied to confinement costs for alcohol, substance abuse offenders, and help cover the cost of that. And so that's basically the report. And if it's all good, I just need to get that signed and get it to the state of Utah by October 1st.
Okay, thank you very much. The sheriff explained that very, very good to be understanding. A motion would be in order.
So moved.
Commissioner Gray Eyes. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Adams. Any questions or comments? If there be none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go, Sheriff.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, you
All
too.
right, continue on there, Matt.
Okay, the next item on your agenda is a discussion and consideration of the second round of CARES Act fund distribution. And we're replacing our second round of funding. The first round of funds that we received on here, let me pull it up so I can give you the total. Total amount was $732,000, just over $732,000. This second round, we get equal to that. And then there's that possibility of the third round being the same. So they've broken it up in thirds for us. This second round, what we're kind of targeting the money for, we put $60,000 into our economic development and tourism for marketing. What we're asking for is that money to be applied to tourism signage, kind of a what not to do in the county. This will be a joint effort with public land managers, along with kind of a virtual visual guide one of the things that we're experiencing now is a different tourist that's coming to San Juan County, whereas in the past, you'll typically see like a European tourist who have gone through, they have the trails marked out, they have the brochures. The tourists now that are coming are more they're more local travelers, where they'll be coming from Nevada, Oregon, Washington, even here in Utah, coming to this area, not really sticking to the typical tourism areas. We're seeing a lot of campers, motorhomes that are camping in places that they've never really camped before, the prescriptive camping. And so we're just seeing people that are now using trails, kind of going off the beaten path to stay away from people, to social distance. It's kind of causing some concern out there. We're seeing a little bit more trash. So this effort is to teach them and provide them material of leave no trace behind, hopefully to explain the trail networks that we have, so that they know, this is how we recreate here in San Juan County, how to pay attention to the cultural, archaeological sites, things like that, kind of making sure hieroglyphics and things like that are protected. And so that messaging is what that 60,000 is for. The next one is we've got 20,000 going towards backlog of trail maintenance. This will be in participation with those public land managers and associated groups to go back and groom some of the trails that, as they've been shut down as well, that trail management hasn't been able to take place. And so this effort is to hopefully get trails and everything back into shape. We're also targeting $100,000 to an artisan guild. The purpose for these funds are twofold. One, you have a couple art festivals that take place here in the county that would like to participate in, as well as working with trading posts and artists to try to get more money to the local artisans that work throughout the county, from top to bottom. If there's a jewelry maker or basket weaver, blanket maker, those type of artisans who were able to rely on the tourism as the income, well, that tourism is no longer there. And so they're also suffering, and they may not be full-fledged businesses, but this effort is to try to get more resources back to them to help them out. We've got $150,000 that goes back into the business grant, the CARES Act grants that we issued in the first round. There were still some businesses who were left out of those grants just because so many had come out to participate in that program. So we'd like to apply $150,000 back to that to try to see if we can get full coverage of all of our businesses throughout San Juan County. We've got $30,173 going back to communications and building preparedness. We continue to work on applications and software programs to better communicate with our citizens, better prepare for a pandemic, to be able to go more virtual in our systems. And so as we look at our building needs, that's what this 30,000 would be applied to. The feasibility, this goes back and is in addition to the first round, and is presented later on today in today's agenda with AJC, but 22,500 going to that feasibility study to cover that total amount on there. That in the first wave of money, you had allocated $20,000, so you're 42,500 for that. Ambulance, cares, and communication, we're targeting 50,000 for that, as the ambulance have made runs for COVID individuals that needed either transport to the hospital. We felt that we can apply these funds to help shore up that budget, since it was something that isn't typical for us to haul COVID patients, and where this CARES Act goes directly for that mitigation, we felt that this was a good application to help kind of shore up those funds that for those ambulance rides, as well as we need radios in the ambulances that match the 800 megahertz system that we're trying to upgrade to. And so a portion of those funds will go to those radios as well. The next one is we've got the Goldings pump, public use pump, $100,000 applied to that. We're working with Goldings on several fronts. We'll be working with them to host an arts festival with the artisans down there at that location. But they've been using their private well and their private pump as a public system. And so we would like to go in with them and upgrade. We heard just this last year that the pump was having some difficulty just keeping up with the volumes and that. And so we'd like to work with Goldings to upgrade that system so that pump works a little bit better. And so you'll see kind of a participation agreement that to get these funds to them, the county will enter into an agreement with them to participate and just kind of make sure they're still using that pump as a public pump. It's definitely a needed resource in that area all around Aljedo and all the way kind of close to Mexican Hat. And so it's important this side of that river that we take care of that water source. And then also you'll see here in the future, we'll be, as we try to get geared up to fix that road in front of Goldings, you've got a portion of the road that leads into that area that's on Navajo Nation property, but after Navajo Nation property, it turns into San Juan County. And then driving past the Goldings property itself, you get into BIA property. And so right now we're looking at entering in a CIB application for additional funding to take care of the stormwater. There's a lot of problems with erosion, as well as just water control that needs to take place before it washes out our road. And so we've been out there trying to install as much of a preventative measure as we can to avoid washout of an asphalt road. But there's more that needs to be done in that system. And so we're working with the local engineer to try to get us a cost. We'll take an application to CIB and make a request for system improvements before we go back in and put a bunch more money into that roadway itself. And so you'll see that here come about in the future. It has nothing really to do with these funds, but I at least wanted to put it on your radar. We also, with that money, would like to put $200,000 in reserves. This is kind of with the knowledge that Congress right now is meeting with the House and the Senate, and they're going back and forth arguing what this next CARES Act rules will be. They haven't come to a good understanding. But what we're hoping is that when they do finally approve the bill, that they'll allow these funds to be carried over into next year, and that they'll allow these funds either not only just as a carryover, but also to be used to shore up budget shortfalls. Because this is across the board, this is what counties and cities are experiencing from COVID, whether it's through furloughs or just shortage of services being offered, or just a major impact from COVID itself. We experience this in our TRT funds. So we're hoping that as they change the rules, we don't want to spend all of the money, but we want to be able to apply these funds to next year as well. And so by putting that $200,000 in reserves, we're hoping that when they change those rules, we'll be able to carry that over with that final round of CARES Act funds that we receive, so that we can kind of continue to support whether it's businesses or the county's budget in general. And so that's kind of what we're anticipating. That for you, Commissioner, is that item there for your approval.
So move. Second.
Did you get that, Commissioner Maryboy?
Consider the item 8, that's just a recurrence of a supporting letter. If you could recognize that into your motion, we can take care of both of them at the same time, or we stay with 7 only. Quite a few things that are bundled up in the CARES Act. Is there any questions or comment to that?
I motion.
Bruce?
Where's it? Second.
I didn't hear that, Matt.
So you got Commissioner Gray Eyes who made the motion for item 7, and then Commissioner Adams seconded that.
Okay, I recognize Adams as a motion, and then Gray Eyes as a second, but okay. All those in favor?
It's the reverse
of that. Yeah, so Commissioner Gray Eyes made the motion. Commissioner Adams seconded. So we're ready to vote.
Yes, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Item 8.
Okay, we've got a consideration of Utah Commission on Aging letter of support. This one is Tammy. So
the letter that you have before you in the packet is a letter of support to the Utah Commission on Aging. It is, the Commission on Aging has been very good for all of the AAAs across the state. Their commission board is supposed to sunset, so they have to go back to legislature and ask for them to continue the committee. So they're just asking all of us AAAs to see if we can get a letter of support for them to continue the good work that they do.
I'll make a motion that we sign the letter of support that's been presented. Second.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Adams and Commissioner Gray Eyes. Commissioner Adams would like to amend the letter, saying that if we support this letter, can we hold off for the next 5 more years and we don't age until then?
I would like to not age, but it's not working.
Okay.
Any
comments? If there be none, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, business action.
So the next one, consideration of the Decker Crossing agreement with Two Stripe Cattle Company. Take it away, Todd.
Okay, what we've got is we had an old car bridge that crosses Cottonwood Wash that lets you access Lower Butler Wash. That car bridge has deteriorated, and so the cost to repair it is immense. So what we propose is to move downstream just a little, upstream just a little ways, and do a low water crossing. We've got with the landowners, who's Two Swipe Cattle Company, and they've agreed to let us do that. And so I have here an agreement that's in your packet between them. Our county attorney has written it up. Their attorneys have reviewed it. We have the signature from the president of Two Swipe Cattle Company, Lynn Patterson. Our surveyors have been down and done all the surveys you noticed on the map that's in your packet, with the notes that actually detail what I just told you. And so we just want to change the county road on their private property so that we can put this low water crossing in to access Butler Wash from this road, as it's been inaccessible for the last 2 years when this bridge was out. And so
I believe that this road is significant and necessary for many people, including ranchers that operate in the area. And so I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Adams. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gray Eyes. I took a drive, and yeah, it really needs an upgrading, and a lot of people do use this road. So a consideration would be great, and thank you very much. And if there's no comment or question, I'm going to call for the Commissioner Gray Eyes.
The dog leg and the growing, is that the temporary?
no, that's the new one. The one that goes straight across was the old one, went across the wash, because it's a real deep cut right there. We moved up to where we're on the rock, probably 70, 80 feet up to where before it drops off, and we're just going to go through the wash and take the bridge is gone. The bridge is deteriorated out. This will just be a low water crossing across the slick rock and up the other side. So we just have to move our county road basically. So
Realign.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. If there's no any other comment, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
A question on
next item.
To finish this, we need your signature, Commissioner Maryboy. Is that something Matt can put your stamp on?
Yeah, have Mac pull out the old stamp and pop it in and send it off.
Perfect, thank
Is
you.
it there? Oh, no, already.
All right,
Okay,
Mac, next item.
next item on here is consideration of an outreach education agreement between San Juan Public Health Department and the University of Utah for poison control education. This will be presented by Kirk Bench, Public Health Director. Kirk, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, this is a pretty simple agreement. We've entered into this agreement every year with Utah Poison Control. Essentially, they offer to give us $2,500 annually. We do some poison control info at local health fairs, and we share poison control messaging on our social media and website. I would recommend that we continue that and sign it and move forward. Happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Kurt,
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Gray Eyes and second by Commissioner Adams. Any comment? Lyndon support. This is a reoccurrence.
I have a comment. If Kelly Pearson were here, I would remind him that most of the poison in the state of Utah comes from the University of Utah.
That's so wrong.
Now, behave yourself, guys. All right. If there's no any other comment or support, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
You
next
still there, Commissioner Gray Eyes?
Yes, aye.
He said aye.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, 3 ayes, and there you go, Kirk.
Thank you, commissioners.
Mm-hmm. You have a fine dandy day. Okay, Matt.
On here as well, he's got the consideration of the coronavirus prevention messaging grant contract for fiscal year 2021 with the State of Utah Department of Heritage and Arts.
Yeah, this was a grant that we applied for maybe in June or July. Maybe it was a little bit later than that. But anyway, we just recently got approval. They've offered to reimburse us up to $15,000 for messaging aimed at preventing the spread of coronavirus in the county. We would have to pay back any unspent funds, but we are hoping to use that to gear up some more messaging and radio ads. Particularly, we wanted to target low income and minority groups that may not have messaging in their local language.
Okay. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Gray Eyes and second by Commissioner Adams. Any questions, comments? If not, vote in support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you again, commissioners. Have a good day.
Thank you. Okay, Matt, next one.
Okay, this one is a purchase order authorizing the chamber remodel by HK Consulting under state contract MA 2641, job order contracting for construction services using CARES Act funding. What this one would do, this comes from the first round of funds set aside, is we would come in here to the commission chambers, raise a platform a little bit higher so the seating sets higher than the public. We have issues with the public sitting right at the table with you, especially if in the presence of COVID, if they were coughing or sneezing, you're in close proximity. So kind of distance them out in the chamber as well by raising that system in here. It'll also go through and kind of revamp the PA system, so hopefully we can get a little better sound system and kind of upgrade to the communications. We're hoping we can get communicate or laptops or some type of computer at the stations of each commissioner, but we'll program it for seating of 6 people up here in front. I had gone out before I went through HK Consulting in the state contracted vendor, just for the public's information as well as yours, put out an RFQ for contractors here in San Juan County for 2 weeks. We ran that advertisement. I didn't receive any responses from local contractors to do. These are small projects that are all kind of $100,000. And every contractor that I've spoken personally, they're super busy. In which that's when I reached out to the state contracted vendor to provide that service for us. So that's this item here. The total amount that we had appropriated for this was $109,000. Their estimate on here is the total estimate would be $95,000 to do that. They would begin the project within a couple weeks.
Thank you. Will be motion by Commissioner Adams and second by Commissioner Gray Eyes. Any questions, comments? There be none. All those in favor for approval?
Mac, on anything he can do to raise the commissioners up a little bit.
Elevate you. Get you closer to heaven. Okay, so we had vote on that, right?
We also need a holy water at the entrance. Aye.
For sure.
I think that's all ayes, Mac.
Okay, all eyes on that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one here. So we've got a consideration of a contract for ordinance recodification, cost proposal, and contract with American Legal Publishing Corporation. Again, this is using CARES Act funds for communication. Right now, we don't have for available to the public our ordinances. We've got planning and zoning ordinances, but any ordinances, policies that the commission's approved from the beginning of time up until now, none of that is really available to the public online. We are a number of probably a small handful of counties throughout the state who have yet to get this system in place. This will be online where anybody can go out and find our policies and our codes. Back in 2002, the county actually contracted with Sterling Codifiers to perform this service, but through a bunch of issues, it never came to pass. They started again in 2009 with Sterling. I reached out to Sterling to try to get them re-engaged in this process since they had worked a portion of our county ordinances and codes and had all that data. I was hoping we could get them back on board again, but the individual who owned that company has since retired, and the company was bought out by American Legal Publishing, and he had deleted the files when he retired, and so we're starting from ground zero again with this. The base cost for this is around $8,925 to do that. That'll give us 500 pages of ordinances. And so we're hoping that should cover the total cost to get this all online, so that we can easily access our codes, and more importantly, that the public can easily access them.
So move to approve.
Commissioner Gray has motions. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Adams. Comment, questions? There'll be none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item.
So the next one is consideration of a lease agreement with the town of Bluff for the lease of 2,275 square feet within the Bluff Community Center for senior services located at 190 North or East. In the lease agreement, pretty much everything stayed the same. We're still at $450 a month or $13.50 a quarter. There's some utilities and things that we split within that, but we structured the lease in more of a lease agreement and kind of used as an exhibit the planning space so that everybody knew what the county was leasing and what was the town of Bluff's responsibility. And so hopefully it's a little bit more clear within the overall lease, but it's pretty much just a modification. The lease period, the term is for 5 years with the option to renew for an additional 5 years. Any questions?
Motion?
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Gray Eyes and second by Commissioner Adams. Go ahead, comment.
If I'm not mistaken, I think this is the building that the county built and then gave to Bluff. And now we have to pay to lease it back from them.
Yeah, this is the old BSA.
Anybody from Bluff that can comment to this?
Change ownership.
There's only nine people that are online. I'm not seeing anybody unmute themselves.
Well, I wish I could have somebody explain to me why we built the building and then we ended up paying for it.
You made the motion. You were such a nice guy back then, Kenneth.
I know, but it would have been nice to have some kind of an information right now.
The
It's
city,
okay, we can vote on it.
the town council did approve this last night in their meeting, so they're all on board with charging us. So, yeah.
All right, Smart Alex. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Item
Awesome.
15, Mac.
Just to throw out, Ann has been the mayor there in the town. She's been awesome to work with on that lease. And I appreciate her patience as we go through and remodify some of those agreements that we have with the town of Bluff. And so she's been on board. It's been awesome. On to the next one is consideration of an agreement with AJC Architects to perform a feasibility study for the public safety building using the CARES Act funds as well. This was the one that I had mentioned initially. We had set aside $20,000 for that, and that cost has now increased to $42,500. Well, I reached out and we went through a public process to get an architect to perform this service. Went through 3 architects. Well, 2 only provided detailed information, and then we selected AJC to perform this service. As AJC was looking at it, they had asked for CAD files of the building so that they could run their takeoff and start to work towards a feasibility analysis. With that, when we reached out to the previous architect who had done the 2009 design on this building, they were very reluctant to get us any CAD files. When I reached out to the contractor, he said we had to contact the contractor who was initially agreed to do the design build for this project. He had told us, well, let's work through some issues, but the cost proposal that they provided for the county was more of a design build cost proposal, and so they didn't really have an evaluation that was done by an electrical contractor or a plumbing contractor or HVAC contractor on the mechanical side of it. And at that point in time, we got really leery with their numbers. They had provided numbers in their cost estimate up to $12 million of what it would take to do the remodel for the building. But in that, there was $700,000 of that cost was for design. That's a lot for a building that was taken from a 2001 design, remodeled, cleaned up, and we got to pay it again to the architect again. That's pretty much unheard of. So at this point in time, kind of what we've done is I've asked the architect doing the feasibility study to reach out to all of those trades and to give us a cost of what it would take to construct this building, so that we can approach the CID with a much refined request instead of a request that encompasses design. My understanding is the CIB originally funded the design, and then to go back for design again to the design doesn't make sense. And so we will, basically what we're doing is we're taking off from where we left off in the past, going through this feasibility study. We'll have all of the trades look at it, give us a little bit more accurate of a cost, and then from that, we'll go and approach CIB with our funding request. We have put in our capital plan towards CIB 2 requests this year, one for a feasibility study, and then one for the total construction. And so by taking the feasibility study, applying the CARES Act funds, hopefully it'll get us there quicker, but it'll give us a better number, I think, that we can put in as a request for funding. And so with that, the way that I apply the CARES Act funds and how it kind of relates to COVID is really at the segregation of the population in there. Right now, they've got areas that they can, if they have somebody that's contacted with COVID, we can pull them aside and put them in cells that are kind of isolated, but really you need to have the nurses station, things that come in this second or that remodel, the segregation of populations between male and female, also helps with the remodel. And so with that, it's getting to the point that where we can actually create isolation areas in case somebody does contract COVID in our jail system. And so that's kind of how we're applying for this with these funds. Any questions?
I have a question.
Motion?
First, Kenneth, I don't know, Mac, if you've had any conversation with the Utah court system about the courtroom and a possibility of a second courtroom. I know they've made that request.
Okay.
Before, and they will bring money to the table.
They will.
To do that. And so if we're doing any kind of a remodel, we'll look at the court system in the state of Utah, because I think they will want to participate, but they'll also have some requirements. And we might as well take a look at it now as to get everything done, and then have them come to us and say, hey, we want to do something with the courtroom down there. So
yeah, absolutely. Working with the sheriff, they had mentioned that same thing, and sheriff staff. That's part of the future generation of revenue with the courts. So we'll reach out to Chris Talbot, I think who's over the courts now, and make sure that he's fully integrated with that remodel and the decisions made there, as well as the jail. So that's two pieces of that that we anticipated getting remodeled. But the architect, when they go through this whole entire thing, we'll get them in touch with the sheriff as well as the courts and bring them in on board.
And I agree with you 100% on design build. I think design build was a much more expensive option for us to take when we did the remodel in 2009. And so I'm kind of glad to hear that we're moving away from the design build concept, because I think that added a lot of unnecessary costs initially. And looking to the future, they kind of had us handcuffed to where we had to do what they wanted to do. Or it's just not a good deal. It wasn't a competitive situation.
Yeah, so that's what I worried about. Looking in, there's some liability issues because we didn't go back out to market since 2009 to 2020. It's a pretty big gap. Even if we re-engage them, we would literally just have to go back out to market. It's been the time frame on here where they're treating it as if the county doesn't own the design.
Right.
Then that worries me as well. No county, anytime you pay for a design and you don't own it, that worries me quite a bit.
Especially the amount of money we paid.
Well, do we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second. Question.
Commissioner Gray, I seconds the motion. Anytime an item is being called into the record as an agenda, a live working agenda, when you get to certain items, you make motions, you establish a motion before you discuss. Otherwise, you're out of order. We seem to be under the scope, and we get grandma requests every now and then. If somebody calls for our proceeding and our meeting, if we're not going by the Robert Rules of Order, then we're out of compliance. So make sure that we establish the motion before we talk to the issue. So thank you very much. Any other comment, question?
Question.
Yes, sir.
As I understand, this will be ongoing.
This will be. The feasibility study gets us a truer cost, of which then we can approach the CIB for funding.
My question was that you have put in 20,000 of CA monies, CARES Act.
Yeah.
And their estimate is 22,000. So
Yeah.
that was my question, but
Yeah.
the answer is ongoing negotiation and planning. So
yeah. So we took the first 20,000 from the first amount of CARES Act funds that we hadn't set aside for the feasibility.
Right.
Working through it, we found out, no, there's more that needs to be done. So they estimated about 42,000. That's the other 22,500 that we talked about earlier today.
Okay.
And so that would cover the contract for this portion of it, which will get us truer cost, and then we'll take it to the CIB.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Even lower.
Anybody else? If there be none, I'm going to call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye. 2 ayes,
Aye.
3 ayes.
So 3 ayes. Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item on your agenda on here is consideration of a memorandum of understanding between San Juan County and public land managers for the San Juan Strong Recreate Responsibly campaign using CARES Act funds. This one here, we've got Natalie. That'll give us our summary of this one.
Okay, thanks, Commission. So this is all based. Oh, hi, Commissioner. I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Okay, so,
You there? He was bouncing in and out.
okay. So this memorandum of understanding MOU is ultimately tied to your consideration for that second round of CARES Act funding. So part of that $60,000 that you allocated towards a campaign would be a part of the San Juan Strong Promise campaign, which ultimately helps to build consumer confidence in San Juan County with COVID-19. This specifically is revolving around recreating responsibly, as Mac alluded to earlier. We just have a new visitor that's coming into San Juan County as a result of COVID-19, and helping them to understand how they can responsibly visit within our public lands. We had a meeting with some of the public land managers, and there's interest across all of the agencies to participate in this campaign and be a part of it. And so that's ultimately what this is. It'll be a mixture of creative collateral from filming, a video series, social media posts, map creation, visitor-facing collateral, build into a virtual visitor guide, as well as a digital campaign and some media buys on social media, online news, and radio outlets.
Okay. Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Gray Eyes, and do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Adams. Okay, do we have any question for Natalie or comment? If there be none, thank you very much, Natalie. We appreciate that, and keep up the good work. All those in favor and support?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. The next item is Board of Equalization. I need a motion to go into, are we at the right time to go into Board of Equalization meeting?
Motion to go into Board of Equalization.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Adams. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Gray Eyes. Okay, we now go into a Board of Equalization meeting. Greg, are you there?
Yes,
It's all you, Greg.
I'm here.
All right.
If you look at your summary, basically our Board of Equalization went very smoothly this year. John David, you agree? Okay, he agreed. Because of some commercial sales in the county, I had to increase the commercial properties. I did the improvement. I raised them 20%. The state wanted me to go a lot higher, and I told them I wouldn't do it. The most comment I got about commercial businesses is if we want to do that. And I agree. I am very sensitive to especially the motels and the restaurants, because their business was basically cut off in about February, and their source of income was very limited. But in general, I didn't get much pushback on those. There were a couple PC Black investments, and we adjusted one of theirs and not the other one. Most of in my summary, most of those are just cleaning up things, decisions that were made that were later corrected by the property owners. And I used the program that Natalie got for the Airbnbs. And I went through and picked up about 60 residences that had been given the residential discount that were being used for nightly rentals. And that increased the value significantly, and I felt like that program was worth every penny that we paid for it because of just picking up these. And it is continually used to update those that are advertising for nightly rentals, which I think is good, and we need to pick those up. That's kind of a summary of where we're at and what happened in the BOE. As you look through those, are there any questions anybody has?
Motion?
So, do we have to come out of Board of Equalization in order to make a motion?
No, I think that needs to be done within the Board of Equalization meeting, right, Matt?
We reconvene as the commission. So yeah, you've got to make a decision first as the Board of Equalization.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'll second.
Discussion. Question.
Did you get that, Commissioner Maryboy?
Yes,
You still there?
I'm here.
Okay, you had Commissioner
I'm
Gray's
here.
motion, Commissioner
Yeah,
Adams,
I heard that.
and then a call for discussion from Commissioner Gray Eyes.
Comment, question? Can you still hear me?
Yeah. Did you have?
Okay, there any comment, question?
Okay, no question.
All right, well, motion to get out of the Board of Equalization that we act
You
on.
have to vote on it first. Yeah, you have to vote on it first.
That's what I call for, yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Motion to come out of Board of Equalization.
Motion to come out of the Board of Equalization by Commissioner Adams. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Gray Eyes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are now out of the Board of Equalization meeting. The next item that we have on is Commissioner's report. Commissioner Adams, do you have anything for us?
No, I really don't.
Okay. Commissioner Gray Eyes?
We're scheduled to go to conference
Next week.
24th, 25th, 23rd and 24th. And Midway. Is that Murray? Utah.
Yeah. Yeah, Midway.
Bruce and I and
Yeah,
Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. You're out of the picture.
That's a beautiful place there. Okay. Thank you very much for your report, Commissioner Gray. a lot of things are happening with the Navajo Nation. Of course, the vaccine that's supposed to be submitted among the Native American tribes. I don't know if I should be honored or feel like a guinea pig to a new vaccine that's coming out. That's one of the talk of the town. Other than that, the Navajo Utah Commission will be meeting again towards the end of the week, and Mac and I will make another report. And Friday we had the vote meeting at Red Mesa chapter, and the nation is still dragging its feet on certain areas, but
Are you still there, Commissioner? You may have lost him. Looks like we did lose him. It's up to you two.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
lost you there, but I'm back, and that will be the extent of my report. And a motion to adjournment would be in order, Commissioners.
Mr. Adam, motion, I second it.
Oh, okay, great.
While you were outside.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we are hereby adjourned.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate it.
And you're more than welcome to use my stamp wherever it needs, Mac.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And